Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about some oils that will last pretty much the rest of your life and some others that will last a very long time if you properly store them. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about these in not any particular order, but I'm also going to show you some ways that you can store it that will allow them to last even longer. A lot of the stuff that you see here is already pretty well aged, and I can vouch that they are still good to use because I've been using them. Let's start out with everyone's favorite. At least I think it's everyone's favorite, and that is olive oil. Now, one of the reasons why I feel that olive oil lasts a very long time, well, it really depends on what kind you get. As you can see here, this is extra virgin olive oil, and this is cold pressed or cold extracted, as they state on the bottle. What does that mean? That means that they don't put this through a lot of heat, which will degrade not only its nutrients, but its lifespan as well. So this, in my opinion, do your own research, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I haven't really read this in a book. I'm just telling you my experience as to how I've done it for years now. In my experience, the cooler that you keep your olive oil and the more out of sunlight that you keep it, the longer that it will last. My olive oil and all my other oils are mainly in my pantry, and I try to keep them on the floor of my pantry where it is the coolest. The floor of my pantry all year long, I would say, never surpasses like 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the winter, is probably in the low 50s. This is the least favorite way that I have of putting away olive oil. And I only get olive oil in this form, meaning in a plastic bottle that I know that I'm going to rotate through in a hurry, meaning within the next 1 to 3 years. Because olive oil, even if you don't do anything special, will last a couple to maybe 3 years without going rancid. Okay, so this oil is fairly new, but the reason is because we continually rotate through our olive oil. I want to show you something that happens when you keep your olive oil really cool. You see this? I hope that you can see this. You see how it's all like coagulated? There's nothing wrong with this olive oil. It almost acts like honey when you make it cold. You know how honey crystallizes? And this olive oil is in the bottom of my pantry on the floor. This one right here is one that we keep right next to our kitchen pantry. So it's a little bit warmer in there, probably in the 60s to mid 60s. And you can see that none of it has crystallized. If you have oil that looks like this, all you have to do is just put it in a warmer area, and over time, maybe a day or two, you'll see that it loses all of these little pockets of oils that you see there. It almost look like little fat globules, and that's what it is, fat globules. A lot better in glass than in plastic for obvious reasons. The plastic can over time gas off if the container gets hot enough, or if it gets hit with sun rays and stuff like that. That's why you want to make sure that you store your oils somewhere where it's not only cool, but also dark. Well, if you have a dark glass, that's going to take care of the oil being hit by the sun or light, and it's also going to take care of having any chance of it gassing off if it's in plastic, which is great. This way is going to last a very long time as long as you keep it sealed. But one of the reasons why glass is my second favorite, or my second to last favorite of storing it, is because number one, it's pretty heavy, but if it falls, it can break, and there goes your oil. Other than that, I think glass is a great way to keep your oil for long term, and you can always use the container after you're done using it to do other stuff with it that comes in handy as far as having glass containers. And again, ladies and gentlemen, always get the best oil that you can afford, because the better the quality oil, in my opinion, the longer it will last, as long as you properly store it and keep it in a good temperature. And I have to say that my favorite way of putting olive oil away for long term is going to be in a tin container, a metal container. However, you have to remember to make sure that wherever you're going to be storing this, that there is not high humidity. All right, so you always have to be checking your stuff. You know, this, in my opinion, is going to last me years and years and years. As long as I don't open it and break the seal, it's going to last years. But you know what? I have to take that back, because if you take everything into consideration, a tin container is great because it's going to protect the contents inside. However, if you can buy something like this This is just such a pretty looking bottle, isn't it? If you can buy something like this that comes in a bottle, right? That's a dark bottle, and then it has a tin container that can protect the contents inside, and you can keep it somewhere where it's cool, away from the sunlight even, and where there's no high humidity. I think this is going to last a very, very long time. I'm talking about years. Although I don't have a lot of experience with avocado oil, I know that it has a very high flash point, so it's a great oil. That's actually a really good oil. Look, made from 100% avocados that you can use for frying things, all right, if you're on some kind of a health kick. But one thing that I've learned throughout the years is that when you're putting away food stuff, the less ingredients and the less processed that food stuff is, the longer that it will last. This is a bottle of avocado oil that I believe I showed off to you all on a payday prep when I purchased it about a couple of years ago. Now, at that time, we purchased a couple of bottles, and we've used a bottle of it since then. And it is great for frying because it has a high flash point, meaning that you can get it up to about 400 and something degrees, if not a little bit higher. Someone leave in the comments how hot you can get this before it starts to burn. And it works very well. No, it doesn't taste like avocado. It just tastes like oil, any oil that you would use for frying, except that, in my opinion, it's a bit healthier for you if you're going to fry anyways, and it will last a long time as long as you properly store it. Why? Because it's a simple oil. It's not processed in the way that a lot of your bad oils are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. These here are my very favorite oils, and we're going to go over all of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 different types of fats here that we're going to go over. Now, from this pile right here, my least favorite, I have to say this, is this one. Why? Because it's powdered and you have to reconstitute it and everything. But this vitamin butter from Nutrient Survival is outstanding. Let me show you real quick. Yes, I'm going to have to plug it because this is an outstanding product. Look at all of the vitamins and minerals that they put in butter, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what it tastes like? It tastes like butter. All right, when you reconstitute it with a little bit of water. But one of the things that I really like about this is check out the date, 33. So November 30th of 2033. Heck, by that time, all of the SHTFs that are supposed to happen should be over by then, and we should be over into a new paradigm. But I digress. Anyways, if you take a look at the ingredients real close, I'll go ahead and let you freeze your screen right there. The ingredients for the butter is just butter. It's butter, cream, salt, non-fat milk, and then it has all of the nutrients. And this lasts a very long time on the shelf. Just keep it at a decent temperature, ladies and gentlemen. And it's light. All you need is a little bit of water to reconstitute it, and it tastes just like that. But in my opinion with this, unless you mix this with like some oil or something like that, you're not going to be able to fry with it. If you just mix it as per directions, this is not going to melt like your regular butter melts. But for baking and even for spreading cool, when you reconstitute it with water, it's a great product, all right? So now let's go ahead and show you one of my very favorites, and it's this right here. This is red feather butter in a can. I have to say that this can is probably about 7 years old. Every time that I've ever opened up one of these cans of butter, it's always been good. And you know what? Towards the end of this video, let's open this one up and see what it looks like. Because after 7 years on the shelf, you would think, or most people would think, that it's not good anymore. But I'm going to prove to you that it is. So back in 2015, I processed a whole bunch of bacon that I ended up pressure canning. And this is the lard that was left over from that bacon. Lard, ladies and gentlemen, will probably outlive you if you properly store it. I remember reading a story once of a person who grabbed a tin of lard that was back from World War II, and they ate it and nothing happened to them. It was perfectly fine. I know a lot of you get on me because I leave the rings on here, but I never leave them on tight. As you can see, this is nice and sealed. Now, I can see a couple of questions coming my way, and they are, AP, do you pressure can these when you process them? And my answer is, yes, you can. I didn't pressure can these, and you don't have to. but do your own research. Go to the site of the USDA and they'll let you know whether or not this needs to be pressure canned. More than likely they will for safety reasons, but in this case I did not pressure can them. I just let the heat of the lard, when I packed it into the jar as a liquid, go ahead and do the sealing itself. All right, so again, 2015, we used one of these in the small form right here not too long ago. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can see a little bit of the solids down the bottom. Nothing wrong with that either, ladies and gentlemen. So lard is something that's going to last a very long time, and it's got a pretty bland taste to it, meaning that if you cook with lard, you're not going to be like, man, I can really taste that that's lard. It's just a fat that you can fry with and cook with. Ghee, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say is my very favorite tasting fat to put away for long term. Ghee is delicious. If you do not know how to make ghee, go check out the video. I'll try to remember to leave a card on the upper right hand corner of this video so you can click on it and check out how to make it, because it's very easy. So many people are afraid of making ghee because they think it's difficult. Oh, I'm going to give myself botulism and all that kind of stuff. I've had this ghee since 2019. I've had ghee since I think it was 2014 that was still good. I just finished that batch a couple of months back. Don't buy it at the store because you're going to pay a whole bunch more than what you should pay if you make it yourself. Now, I have to say that the very favorite way that I have of storing fats for long term is not the tastiest way. If you were to ask me, what are the tastiest way, or give me two ways that you think is the tastiest way to put away fat for long term, right here. Ghee, because it tastes delicious, and butter, because it tastes delicious. And this butter is very high quality. Let me show you the ingredients of this butter, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see that? Pasteurized cream and salt. That's it. Remember when I tell you that the least amount of ingredients and the higher quality the ingredients, the longer that it's going to last if it's properly packaged and you properly store it in a place that doesn't have high humidity so you don't get rust, and in a place that has a cool temperature. And that works for both of these. But these are my two favorite as far as tasty. But as far as longevity, it has to be coconut oil. I want to show you this because we just used some of this the other day to fry up some fish that my wife did, and it came out delicious. And check this out. Look at the best buy date on this container. It's 4/22, April 22nd of 2015. It's coming up on 9 years past the best buy date. Is this any good? Well, a lot of people think that coconut oil goes bad. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I wish you can smell it, because it smells delicious. It smells like coconut. Why? Because it's coconut oil. One of the rules that I have in keeping coconut oil, of course, just like all the others, keep it in a place that's cool, away from sunlight, so that the plastic won't gas off. If you can get it in jars that are made out of glass, even better. But one of the rules that I have is that when I dip into this, or anyone dips into this to get some of the coconut oil out of the container, it has to be with a utensil, i.e. a spoon, that is very clean. Because if you're going to dip a spoon in there that you already licked once, guess what's going to stay in there once you take your coconut oil out? All that bacteria. So whenever you dip into it, make sure that the spoon or whatever utensil you're using is very clean, and this will last. I've never come across it, but I have researched on what coconut oil looks like when it goes bad. And what it looks like is a lot of little black strings. You'll see black strings going in and out of it, and that's just lines of bacteria. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I promised that I would open this up, and this is a very big deal in the Alaska Prepper household because we all love this butter. And go check out how much this butter costs now. Hey, JT, if you're listening to this, remember when I used to talk about on my Payday Press early on when I started this channel, hey, I got a great deal on red feather can, or red feather butter in a can. It was under $5, or it was like 2 for $8 or something like that. But let's see what this looks like. I'll even give it a little bit of a taste, just the butter by itself, and I'll let you know if it's still edible or not. We're going to have to get a spoon to go ahead and grab that. And that looks really good. Look at that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Let me give it a sniff. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it smells like? It smells like butter. I told you I'd taste this, so I will. So you're going to have to trust me that I'm going to taste it. So I'm a one-man crew over here, and I'm going to take this camera and flip it around. But here you go. Look. Oh, that looks really nice. Look at that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It smells like butter. My wife told me the other day, if the SHTF ever happens and it's long term, we're probably going to be the only fatties in the block. And I said, don't worry about it. We'll go out and buy clothes that's 5 or 6 times bigger. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, because we're thinking ahead and putting stuff away now that we can. You should be doing the same thing. If for some reason you've just come across this video and you never considered getting prepared, you should think about it, because if something happens that will keep you from getting your family the things that they need in order to just sustain life, all right? Not only talking about sustaining their standard of living, like being able to wipe your you know what with some toilet paper, but just to sustain life. Think about how terrible it would be when you knew that you had time to prepare now for anything that may happen in the future. It's not about the end of the world. It's not about Armageddon. It's not about an SHTF where the lights go out for 20 years. It's about maybe you lose your job. Maybe you get hurt. Maybe you get laid off. Whatever. Anything can happen. Anyways, here's that butter. I'll stop talking. Looks pretty good. And yes, it's just butter. Let's taste it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing special about that butter. The only thing special about it is that it's lasted so long and it's still good. It tastes like high quality butter. That's what it tastes like. No rancidity to it. No foul taste to it. It just tastes like butter. And now this butter will definitely be used for the next few days, because Little Miss Alaska Prepper will not let that butter sit in the fridge too long. I'm going to go ahead and do story time really quick before we end this video, for those of you that want to hear a little story. So I think it was a year or two ago, Little Miss Alaska Prepper was making pancakes, or she made pancakes. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm eating some pancakes. It was on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, man, I'm thinking to myself, man, these pancakes are delicious. And I asked her, I was like, what did you make those pancakes from? Did you make them from scratch? Is there a recipe that you got at school or something? She's like, no. I'm like, is it just you just followed the instructions on the package? You know, the blue bag that you get at Costco. I always forget the name. It starts with a K, right? It was that pancake. She said, I just followed the instructions. And I'm like, okay. And I kept thinking inside, I'm like, these are the best pancakes I've ever had. So I let it go, because I asked her 2 or 3 times, what did you do different? She said, nothing. I just followed the instructions. Okay. So the next day, or the next morning, I was going to go and fry up some eggs, and I reach for my jar of ghee that I had on the counter. And I noticed that that jar was like down here. It was like almost gone. Like 4/5 of it had been used up. And I remember that the day prior, it was almost full. And then I said, that's why those pancakes were so good. When Little Miss Alaska Prepper woke up, I asked her, I was like, did you use ghee when you fried the pancakes yesterday? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, did you use this much? And she said, yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a true story. My daughter makes the best pancakes in the world because she uses the most ghee in the world to make those pancakes. So go out there, put away your fats. Now you know, or you can do your own research, all right, on which fats are the best for you to put away for your family. I would say that if you only had only one fat to put away ghee, because it is delicious and it will literally last pretty much forever. I don't think that it's as resilient as coconut oil, but this will last a very long time, especially if you rotate it out and use it on a regular basis. And it's going to cost you next to nothing to make compared to what you have to pay at the store. So if you find a sale on butter, go buy yourself a whole bunch of butter and check out the video that I'm going to leave, or that I already left, so that you can see how to make it. Very easy. Other than that, let me go ahead and close this video out. You know that I'm very talented when it comes to taking a video that could have been 5 minutes long and making it 25 minutes long. So if you're still here, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.